Hey, have you ever wondered, well, have you ever stood in your kitchen at 2 p.m., stared in the refrigerator, and realized you weren't looking for dinner? You're looking for yourself. Or maybe you opened your closet and thought, who even is this person wearing these clothes anymore? If you've ever had that eerie sensation of being a stranger in your own life, girl, you are not alone. You are not broken. And you, my friend, are in the right place. I am a woman over 50 who has personally lived through the identity plot twist that comes when a role shift happens and you're left with a quiet you don't yet know how to inhabit. Today, y'all, we're good. I got you. Today, we're diving into that lost feeling so many of us gals over 50 describe, especially those of us who've been in healthcare or any kind of helping profession, from teachers and beyond, counselors, professors, therapists, social workers, nurses, caregivers, on and on, the helpers, the fixers, the ones who always showed up. The physiological, well, okay, so here's what you're going to walk away with. The physiological and psychological reasons you feel this shift, backed by developmental psychology, neuroscience, and polyvagal theory. Why feeling lost is not a failure. Y'all, it's an identity evolution. Your nervous system is recalibrating, and this is actually a sign you did your job way too well for way too long. You're also going to get some practical steps on how to reconnect with your joy, with your desire, and the version of you that has nothing to prove anymore. This is not motivational fluff. This is grounded healing. It's grounded healing work that's rooted in nervous system science with humor sprinkled in because midlife requires this. Okay, y'all, let's take a big deep breath. We're going to be honest and let's get to it. Okay, so why this hits us gals over 50 and why it hits us helpers most. So, see, no one told us midlife would be a less gentle journey. It is a gentle glide into wisdom and more like being dropped off into a psychological escape room with no map and no timer, but you definitely feel it. You don't see it, but you feel it. So let's talk just a hot minute about the research. Developmental psychologist, and he is classic. I don't care what degree you have, you've heard of this guy, Eric Erikson, called this stage that we're in generativity versus stagnation, which is an academic language for, is this the rest of my life? Is it going to have meaning? What am I going to do with it? Tell me something. Or am I just going through the motions until I die? Here's what makes this complex for us helping overeducated professionals. Your entire adult life was built on doing for others. You're serving without keeping score. You're handling crisis others couldn't see. You show up when no one else would show up. You absorb other people's trauma as part of your job description. For 20, 30, maybe 40 years, you were the one who held it together. Then one day, the noise kind of stops. You know, the kids grow up. I don't know about y'all, but the job loses meaning. your energy changes, your hormones go rogue, and suddenly you have zero tolerance for nonsense. Your parents need care. The roles that once defined you, mom, daughter, provider, fixer, expert, loosen their grip. Y'all, this is not a personal failure. Oh, please, it's anything but that. This is not, well, no, this is disorientation, not personal failure. This is identity being returned to you. Returned to you. You've spent decades proving your worth through productivity. You never had this much freedom before. You just haven't learned how to desire again. So here's why healthcare professionals, as helpers and healers, feel this more intensely. If you're a counselor, a therapist, a social worker, a nurse, a physician, a teacher, but wherever you might fall, you're at higher risk for this identity earthquake. Why? Your professional identity was built on other directedness. See, your worth was measured by how much you could carry. Your success was tied to others' outcome, other people's outcomes. I think that makes more sense. When that external validation system shifts, when clients terminate, caseloads change, you retire or scale back, you lose the scaffolding that held your identity in place. Compassion fatigue research tells us helpers burn out differently. It's not just overwork. That's not what it is, although there is some of that. It's over caring. It's the slow erosion of self that happens when you spend years putting everyone else's needs ahead of your own nervous system's signals. Yeah, right? Okay, so let's just take a minute. Big deep breath. Send us all some love because we have done the best we can with what we had. And let's just celebrate that we've made it this far, right? And let's dive into a little bit of this nervous system science. My friend, here's what's actually happening in your beautiful body and why it feels like you're losing your flippin' mind when you're actually finally just powering down. Your nervous system has been in crisis mode. I've been telling you this for years. You earned your worth through productivity. Your nervous system ran at high sympathetic arousal, flight or fight mode. But here's the thing. You weren't running from danger. You were running towards everyone else's needs. I know. Sounds like I say this a lot because it's so true. And we have not had the courtesy of people telling us what's been happening to us. We just power through, suffer through, dread the day, and just deal with it because we've accepted that's just what life is. And it's not. It's not. Your nervous system, my friend, could not tell the difference that you were not running from danger. It just knew you were running. So here's a little humorous truth. Your nervous system has been in command central crisis mode for so long. It thinks silence means something's wrong. It's like your body is going, wait, where's the emergency? You got to give me something to fix, a person to rescue, a board to chair. I'm deeply uncomfortable with leisure. Yeah, raising my hand. Oh, this isn't because we're broken, friend. It's conditioning. And it started way back for me in undergrad, certainly in master's, and let's not even talk about the schooling beyond your master's. We've been conditioned for a long time, gals. So here's someone I really think highly of, Dr. Stephen Porges. Someone email me the pronunciation. I could say it if I weren't trying to say it right here, right now. But anyway, this guy, he's got great videos on YouTube. He's got great books, great articles. If you buy, well, I've got, he's in some of my libraries that I'm creating for y'all. But he created the polyvagal theory. And y'all, this explains the lost feeling. So let's dive in. Dr. Stephen and his polyvagal theory teaches us our nervous system has three main states. So we have got three main states, and those are the ventral vagal. That's our safe and social, where joy, connection, play, and creativity live. We don't go there near enough. Y'all, this is where you can actually feel alive. It's a good place to be. Then we have the sympathetic, the fight or flight, where most of us have been living in high alert, always scanning for the next thing to handle. Conditioned. And three, there's the dorsal vagal, and this is shutdown. This is complete shutdown. This is where you go when you've been in sympathetic too long. You get numb, you're going to get disconnected, and you're going to do a Netflix, a vino, or a snack dissociation. And that's not relaxation. See, when you hit 50, especially perimenopausal or postmenopausal, your body forces a recalibration. Your hormones shift, your energy shifts, your tolerance, oh my Lord, your tolerance shifts. The nervous system that's been running on adrenaline for 30 years starts to power down. It starts to power down. And why, my friend, this feels like like we're lost. When your nervous system finally gets permission to rest, it feels like apathy. Nothing sounds good. Confusion. Who am I without my to-do list? Sadness. Grief for years given away. Restlessness. The inability to just be. Or emptiness. Where, oh, where did my purpose go? It's not depression. This is identity transition. Your system is saying, we're finally safe. We're safe enough to stop performing. Now what the hell are we going to do? Now what? So see, this is neuroscience plus the hormone factor. Ooh, that sounds scary. Kick us back to middle school, huh? Neuroscience tells us new identity formation requires quiet, novelty, curiosity, rest, play. Your brain needs space, my friend. But that space feels uncomfortable because you've been trained to fill every flipping gap with productivity. And let's get real about perimenopause and menopause. Estrogen. Estrogen doesn't regulate your period. It regulates your mood, your energy, your stress resilience, your cognitive clarity, and your ability to tolerate other people's nonsense. When estrogen drops, your stress level, your stress threshold, the level goes up, your threshold goes down. Things you used to handle, say a difficult client, passive aggressive colleagues, boundary violating family, endless demands, suddenly feel intolerable. And this is not because you're being too sensitive, please. This is your body saying, girl, we are done accepting unacceptable things. Bada bing, bada boom, done. This is biology giving you permission to prioritize yourself. And if you spent 50 years not prioritizing yourself, that permission, oh my Lanta, that permission feels like a full-blown identity crisis. You don't know what to do. So let's talk about the grief that no one mentions. Let's talk about what we don't say out loud. There is grief in this transition, and it's okay. Even if you're relieved your kids are grown, even if you wanted to retire, if you hated your job, there's still going to be grief. I mean, my kids are in their 40s and late 30s, and I mean, that empty nest thing, I still grieve that. I miss those babies being in this house. That grief goes long and strong. I think we hang on to not retiring because we fear that grief, even if we hate the job. But we have to accept there's going to be grief. It's okay to not be okay. And let's talk about it. So, what you're grieving, here's what you're grieving: the version of you who could do it all, even though it was killing you. Oh, my Lanta. Getting up at 5 in the morning, go to 10 at night. The roles that gave you structure, even if that structure was suffocating. The identity of being needed, even if being needed meant being used. The years you gave away, even if you chose to give them away. The version of yourself you never got to meet because you were too damn busy and being what everyone else needed. Why helpers struggle to acknowledge this? So, friends, if you're a counselor, therapist, social worker, healthcare professional, I mean, we're all healthcare professionals, therapist, teacher, I meant, caregiver, just a healer, you're going to struggle to give yourself permission to grieve because we've been trained to hold space for others and not for ourselves. And that's especially true for those of us in the therapy world. You feel guilty for feeling sad when you have so much to be grateful for. You're used to being the strong one. You're afraid if you start crying, you won't be able to stop. Here's the truth. Unprocessed grief becomes stagnation. Unprocessed grief becomes resentment. Unprocessed grief becomes the very burnout you're trying to escape. You cannot skip this part. You have to feel it. I'm sorry, but it's true. You got to feel it. So just take a minute to digest that. We got to feel that grief. We got to have a way to feel that grief. Find a good therapist, find a good friend, find a way to get that expressed. And then let's talk about why find your purpose advice makes it worse. So see if we can talk about this a hot minute. Most midlife advice is horribly unhelpful. Horribly unhelpful. You've probably heard, girl, this is your time. Reinvent yourself. What's your passion project? You just need a new goal. And if you're like most women I work with, hearing that makes you want to scream or throw a plate against the wall or do something. Here's why this misses the mark. Because you're not suffering from lack of goals. You're suffering from goal fatigue. Girl, you have spent 30 years setting goals, hitting goals, moving goalposts, managing outcomes, tracking metrics, and proving your worth. The last thing you need is another goal. You need permission to exist without a goal. You don't need a new purpose. You need to reconnect with desire. And here's the difference. Purpose is heavy, outcome driven, performative. Desire, that's light, process-driven, playful. Purpose asks, what should I do with my life? Desire asks, what makes me feel alive right now? Feel that difference? The energy is very different. Purpose, and we talk about, I talk about wanting to find purpose, but I think desire leads to purpose, but well, that's a whole other, that's a whole other thing. Purpose is a heavier energy in this instance. You've got to have an outcome. Desire, that's playful. Let's come alive and just experience life. Let's just do this. Very different energy. Actionable soul joy steps. I'm going to give you some right here, right now that you can take as you're vacuuming and listening. I do that with earbuds. As you're picking your garden, although it's getting a little late in the year for that. As you're driving, whatever you might be doing, riding your bike, whatever. We're going to get practical. Here's what actually helps. Real nervous system regulation and identity reclamation. First, stop trying to figure it out. The goal is not to figure out your purpose or have a plan. The goal, girl, is to feel alive again. That's it. Start here. Next, 2, claim 1 hour a week for curiosity. Not productivity. Screw that. Curiosity. Not self-improvement. Not a new skill to monetize. Curiosity. Pure and simple curiosity. Ask yourself, what would I do if no one was watching and I didn't have to be good at it? What did I love before I learned to prioritize usefulness over joy? I made mud pies, man. I I did needlepoint with Boomby, my grandmother. I learned to sew. I water painted. I finger painted. Just fun, joyful. I want you to do that thing for 1 hour a week. You got to find it. You got to do it. 1 hour a week. Not productivity, curiosity. Number 3, I want you to do one small thing that feels joyful, not useful. Joyful. Paint a mug badly. Buy glitter pens. Do goat yoga. Come out here to the Merriman Ranch. We're going to be having goat yoga on Sundays. Dance in the kitchen. Grab that yummy man you married and dance for me. I'm going to grab my yummy man and dance in the kitchen. I love to do that with him. Touch the grass like an absolute weirdo. Hold a warm cup with 2 hands and do nothing else, especially now that it's getting colder. That feels so good. These actions, my friend, help to retrain your nervous system to associate rest with safety, not laziness. And I think a lot of us in this age group, having grown up in the 60s, our parents kind of had a different idea about, about what doing nothing meant. We do have to retrain that system. I'm not being lazy. I'm not being lazy. I'm training my system to be safe. 4, say this out loud once a week. I'm allowed to take up space in my own flippin' life. Say it even if you don't believe it yet. Say it especially if it makes you cry. I don't want to make you cry, but if you if you cry, you really need to say it. This is identity work, boundary work, nervous system work. I am allowed to take up space in my own life. 5th step, work with your nervous system, not against it. Your nervous system needs specific support. So you need somatic practices. Think yoga, Tai Chi, walking in nature. You need breath work, longer exhales, signal safety. Big long exhale. Bilateral stimulation. EMDR, find you a good EMDR therapist, learn the butterfly tap, in your earbuds, alternate music. Bilateral stimulation is amazing. Co-regulation, safe relationships where you don't have to perform. I'm the luckiest woman on earth I married Kelly Merriman, and he, just It's game changer. You want to marry someone that co-regulates with you. You cannot think your way out of nervous system dysregulation. You have to feel your way through it. You can't escape. It's worth feeling your way through. I mean, it's not, so often we want to take shortcuts, especially those of us that are way too overeducated and know these things like, yeah, I just want to do this. No, you got to do the same shit you're telling your people to do. It's the only way there is to it. Okay. 6, and last one, reframe the narrative. I just had a session on that today. Because I believe in it and I talked to a lot of my patients about it, but you got to reframe your narrative. Girl, you're not starting over. You're not reinventing yourself. You are returning to yourself. Maybe some inner child work. Highly recommend that. There's a version of you that existed before you learned to people please, before you learned to perform, before you learned to try to prove your worth. And sweetheart, she is still there. She has been waiting for you. Okay. So that's all I have for today. Let's do a quick summarization. Here's what you learned today. First, feeling lost after 50 is normal developmental transition. Erickson's generativity versus stagnation. Look it up. There's a lot of stuff on the net. Second, your nervous system has been in crisis mode for decades. The lost feeling is your body recalibrating. Third, hormone shifts force identity recalibration. This is biology, not weakness. Fourth, if you're a healthcare professional or helper, you feel this way more intensely because your identity was built on other directedness. Instead of self-directedness, you're directed at others. Compassion fatigue compounds this. Fifth, grief is part of this process. Girl, you can't skip it. Sixth, you don't need a new purpose. You need to reconnect with your heart's desire. 7, joy comes back through small actions, nervous system regulation, and presence, not self-improvement projects. And girl, the truth, you're not behind. You're not late. You're not supposed to have this all figured out. You are entering the chapter where life finally becomes your own. And that can be terrifying. And that can be beautiful. And that's exactly what it's supposed to be. You're right where you need to be. My final thought for you, if this episode spoke to you, please share it with another woman over 50 who has always been the strong one, the one who shows up for everyone, the one who never complains. She could use someone sitting beside her in the dark, waiting for her light to return. Okay. I invite you to download your free Soul Joy Starter Guide. It has 5 science-backed steps to protect your energy, prevent burnout, and restore your joy as a helper. I've got the link in the show notes. Just hop over to wherever you listen to your podcast and click on that link and get you that free starter guide. And until then, sweet friend, be gentle with yourself. You are doing harder work than anyone else sees. And I'll see you next time.